G'day, punters. Welcome to the mailbag, powered by puntingform.com.au, hydrated by Goat Lager. Mark, Rhoden, Shane Shirley, Pistol Pete and myself take you through and in very, like, Curly's that excited about this meeting at Ipswich that I've had to calm him down. We said, Curls, I know you want to do all 8 races. No, mate, just only do 2. You want the rest, head to the mailbag.com.au and purchase your set. Boys, how are we? Boys!
I'm very well, Jack. Yeah, everything you said there was a lie about me.
Well,
I'm not excited at all. But there's still betting to be had in Queensland this week. The only little issue that I've got is that I'm still trying to come to grips with this. It's sort of hard to say. There's only 2 tab meetings in South East Queensland this Saturday.
How are you going to cope?
What? It's fucking bullshit, mate. I'm pretty sure I made it pretty clear on the show last week. Shut up and let me bet. So now I'm going to have to go to the non-tab meeting at Warwick on Saturday Arvo and bet from there, so I can still do my 3 meetings.
What's missing, Toowoomba?
No, there's no Saturday Arvo. The Saturday afternoon tab meeting is at Rockhampton.
So no Gold Coast?
No Gold Coast, yeah.
Oh, really?
But back to Toowoomba Saturday night.
Yeah, Toowoomba Saturday night, yeah.
The Warwick Toowoomba doubleheader, isn't that the same pool of horses?
Yeah, it's like an 80-kilometre travel distance, which is close. And, same pool of horses. So all the non-tabbers will be down at Warwick, which should leave some tab horses at Toowoomba. So just looking at acceptances this morning, we've got some jockeys up here this week as well. So I think 2 weeks ago I blasted 11 units at Toowoomba, and last Saturday night was 0. So spin the chocolate wheel and it's time to blast again.
All right, where are we starting talking about ponies?
Don't make it all about me, Jack. Anything else we want to talk about first, or just straight into it?
We do have like an offer actually. Thank you. If you sign up this week to puntingform.com.au, get the sectional pro form subscription, which is $279 per month. Contact me or Shane Baker at Punting Form, and I will give you a 30-minute Zoom lesson on how I use it to preview or review a race, whichever you'd prefer. So if you do get on board, I'll hold your hand for 30 minutes to get you started, because it can be a little bit daunting to get started. So I'll help you get started if you sign up this week. Curls, let's preview something at Ipswich for the punters, please.
Okay, let's go straight to the top, the Ipswich Cup Race 7. Do we want to discuss anything about the actual track, some track stats or some meeting stats first? Some interesting stuff from Punting Form here on the meeting overview page.
Yeah. The thing that stood out to me, I haven't done any form here, but just had a quick glance at the meeting page on Punting Form. Wide barriers seem to be a decided advantage in this rail position. So horses with a historical on-pace pattern outperform the market by, a factor of 20%, whereas the inside and middle barriers underperform versus the market. And same with those mapped to be midfield and drawn 8+. They also outperform the market and are actually profitable to back. Everything else is in the negative from what I can see, or very close to square. So handy or midfield, and barrier 8+ is profitable, and you wouldn't see that at many tracks, I'd say.
No, I think I'm not shocked at all by running position. I suppose not shocked either because with I don't know whether I suppose what we're doing here is lining up a set of statistics that are on a provincial track that's racing with Saturday Metro class horses there this week, which is once a year. So like horses drawn wide that want to go forward and sit on speed.
When I used to do Brisbane, which was about 15 years ago, professionally, back in the IAS days, Ipswich Cup Day was a strange one because you had obviously a different class of horse to normal racing there, but I don't know if it's the case on Saturday, but usually massive fields, which would mean like midfield rail was, you might as well tear your ticket up because you were just never getting out.
It's like it is a tight circumference, and capacity feels like you're going to have to, like, I'll be betting off Matt for no luck, if that makes sense. I'm not looking for horses that need luck. Now, in saying that, this meeting at this time of year didn't go ahead last year because of COVID, but they did run the Eye Liner / Waterhouse Stakes a couple of months later, but with excluding the Cup, so it was just like a listed race day with those couple of other races. Now, Rails in run and was hot. I think Bandipur was the horse that won the main race on the day of the Eye Liner, whatever it was. He was last the fence and never went around the horse and just followed the fence right through, and they were riding really close. So I only remember that because we were on it. So hard to know what to expect today on Saturday, but look, I certainly won't be betting on horses that would need luck in running. So that being said, we can go and have a look at the Ipswich Cup race 7. Now, Peter Moody said a few things on the radio this morning, but the thing that took my interest the most, and which no one else would have thought about because they were too busy patting him on the back for spraying the stewards and Racing Victoria in general, was he mentioned his horse In Good Health that's running in the Cup. He goes, yeah, Jimmy Byrne just had to give him too much of a dig to go forward last week, and he just over-raced and went a bit quick, so we'll be a bit kinder on him out of the gates this week, kinder on her out of the gates this week, and her form's as good as any of these and should be hard to beat. Now, on the puntingform.com.au data, In Good Health did lead at Eagle Farm, and it was the slowest lead time that horse has recorded in its last 3 starts.
Yeah, certainly this preparation, that's for sure.
This preparation.
He's the best of all time, Moody. This time last week, he was giving everyone sermons about heading to brothels and not going to the gym, or going to the gym and not going to brothels, or something to do with COVID restrictions. And now he's telling everyone how to handle their assets and stewards how to do their job. It's fascinating behaviour, and everyone gets around it. Interestingly, a lot more positive feedback for his work around not selling Sandown and stewards making mistakes and being humans, and trainers making mistakes and being humans. A lot more interaction with that than comparing gyms to brothels and bagging politicians.
Yeah. Now, back to the racetrack.
Sorry, mate.
But look, as far as being able to produce a marketable line out of his mouth for narrative purposes, he's also a Hall of Fame trainer or whatever, isn't he? So he can say what he wants. He has immunity. And this comment about this horse last start, the data says it's completely wrong. The data says he went too slow.
So he can do a lot of things, but he can't read the punting from data, you're saying?
You mustn't have a subscription. So Moods, hopefully...
Get on board, get a $279 package, mate, and I'll walk you through it.
Look, the start before last, okay, he stepped up to 2,000 metres at Morfordville on a very fast tempo. He went out 6.4 lengths fast and was able to lead all the way. God bless it, because we were on it, I think. D. Oliver was on. Now, had a freshen, come to Queensland, back to 1,600. Led went somewhere around about 9 lengths slower than that. Would that be right, Pistol? Yes.
Yep.
And, he did over-race, I suppose, but he probably over-raced because he was going too slow. So back up in trip. Drawn inside Inverloch. So he's going to be forward. Now, this will be interesting to see what happens here because, look, I think it's a good chance. It's a very good chance In Good Health. If it's able to lead and run along, it'll be very, very hard to get past. Inverloch, the toppy. Riveting story on racing.com about quoting Trent Buston about this horse saying, I don't look too much at history because it's going to be breaking a weight carrying record if it wins the Ipswich Cup with 60.5 kilos. So brilliant narrative there. Get amongst that. He was a Walker Cup winner too back, leading all the way. carried 58.5 that day. Rises 2 kilos, went to Rose Hill in the Winter Cup over 2,400. He did lead that day. The race at Knight's Order won. Has performed well since, and was beaten completely out of sight off what was an even tempo for that class. So I think the early speed here will be key. I don't know whether Inverloch can win, sort of carrying that weight. And, In Good Health gets Maloney on for Jim Byrne, which I think is an upgrade. I just hope they don't go too slow again.
Well, dynamic-wise, what sort of jockey is Cassidy on a leader versus Maloney on a leader? Are they going to be aggressive or both aggressive to the point where they're just going to cut each other's throats at 400, 600 metres?
No, I think they're both too mature and experienced jockeys to be cutting each other's throat. I don't know how Inverloch can bounce off that run last week. That's the query for me. Weight aside, it was beaten. It was ran last. It was beaten 12, and it was hard to see it bouncing back. I know it's a drop in class and everything like that, but it still obviously had a pretty tough run. It didn't enjoy it. I think that's the key to the race. And then you've got you've got plenty of others that you can make cases for it. An interesting runner for me in this race here would be number 6, Flash R. Now, I think the best way to describe this preparation would be unorthodox. He seems to have a little bit of fresh form. He's just had some spaced runs, and he won a 1,400-metre listed race at the Gold Coast. It was a pretty ordinary field that day, but it still won. It was a big price, $71 or something, into 30s from memory. Over 1,400, then had a fresh and went back to the 1,000 at Eagle Farm, then stepped up to 1,350 in a bench 85. Then freshened again, then won an open 1,000 at the Sunshine Coast, and then last start stepped up to 1,500, where it was a length and a half off Charlize, Is that how you pronounce it? That Mar horse? Charlize? Yep. The race was fast run. It was the second fastest last 200 of the race, I think, behind the winner. So it closed off well enough. It's by Lucas Cranach, so you'd think that, a staying trip would be suitable. It has won up to 1,800, albeit in 65 grade at the coast, but it's going to get a cosy run. I think it'll be, from gate one, it'll be sort of tucked away midfield. I don't know how far back, but I think in this sort of distance, it should be able to hold a spot a bit closer. But I don't know. It's a bit of a grey up this race because I think I want to be on In Good Health. The data's pushing me towards In Good Health, and then the only other horse that the data sort of is gravitating to a bit here is the Chris Waller train number 2, So You Win, who he's been a while between drinks as well. His last win was December last year, but he's ran a lot of placing since, which is a little bit frustrating. But thought he ran well when the tempo was against him last time. I think the horse is going super, and I've got no query with him, being strong at the end of 2,000. So at this stage, I suppose, until we see sort of scratchings and track conditions, we're a long way from that. It's been a little bit of storm activity in southeast Queensland the last couple of days, so we'll monitor that as well. But at this stage, I'm thinking, if In Good Health can roll to the front and Larry Cassidy's happy to take a sit on Inverloch and trail him, I think In Good Health can rip around Ipswich on the rail and be very hard to catch.
Okay, very good. So that's the Ipswich Cup. There's also the Eye Liner and the Gay Waterhouse. Either of those two have an interest at this stage?
Not really. I suppose there's a couple of interesting runners there that I'm sure most people's black books or programs that they use to identify bets next start. So let me switch across here to race 8. Amish Boy was a was an eye catcher at Eagle Farm when he finished close up, diving back to the inside behind Apache Chase and Ayrton. It's another horse that's got a lot of minor placings. There's some really, really good runs next to his name. Just sort of like a elusive win. Winning a race seems elusive for him, is what I'm saying. He's got Craig Williams on board, who's like, I know Hugh rode it last time, right? But Craig is like that much better than his competitors. So we spoke about the jockey switches on this show a few times, and Mark Rhoden come up with a point that stuck in my head. You can only rate them against who they're against. And like this is legitimately like he's class above, right? So anything that Craig's on is going to get a big tick. So I think he'll be able to get this horse into a winning position. He'll know how the track's playing by then, and he'll ride to that pattern, and he'll probably be winning. He's got to carry sort of 58 in open grade here, but the quality of the competition has sort of dropped away a little bit in Queensland. I think most of them have gone home now after Stradbroke Day. Horse number 10, Axe, from the all-conquering Michael Costa yard. God bless Michael Costa. He trained that $70 winner that Scurry found in the yard for us on Saturday. Not only that, if you had the puntingform.com.au database there, and Jack might have a look at this just quickly while I'm waffling, just have a look at Michael Costa's stats for the last 3 months, Jack, while I'm going on here.
I don't want to throw up.
So it's, it was a really strong effort last time. Ran third to Emerald Kingdom and Co. there. That's a strong form line. For this has a little tricky gate to overcome, but the stable is completely and utterly airborne.
But wasn't he like none from 3 in Queensland last Saturday, but he was like that 1 from 1 up there?
Nah, I think the Saturday before he was 5 from 5 in Queensland.
Sorry.
Anyway, more to come, but that's that race. I think that's the race. I think Craig Williams is the man to beat. Are you searching, Jack?
Yeah, career ROI negative 1.6. Current season 11.4 positive. Last 12 months 10.9 positive. Last 50 84.3% positive.
At what
How many
strike
winners
rate?
from his last 50?
Yeah. What strike rate is he going at?
Thank you for asking, Peter. This is all according to the puntingform.com.au data. Career 18.8. Current season 28.3. Last 12 months 27.7. Last 50 42. Almost 1 in 2.
That's David Van Dyke territory, that. Did you say the last 12 months? What was the last 12 months?
27.7.
That's elite.
Yeah, it's going good.
What's Korea?
18.8. That's elite.
Yeah, that's still outstanding for a career.
And he started his career in Sydney too. Struggled, went to Queensland.
Actually, he deserves every bit of success because he was training a 2-year-old at the time that he left in Sydney to move to Queensland, and that 2-year-old turned out to be the Golden Slipper winner.
You're kidding.
I kid you not.
What was it called?
Did Portelli train it for Derby?
Oh, She Will Reign.
She Will Reign.
And it won a Moya.
Did he have that originally, did he? Oh, right.
Absolutely positive he did.
It won a good race at Moonee Valley, like a Group 1.
Yeah, when it was 3, yeah.
And it hooned. Like, yeah. I think Tom and Barry rode it.
Oh, Melbourne rode it in the Golden Slipper, hugged the rail when it was a heavy 12, because he rightly said the track was shit everywhere, so why go 20 wide?
Yeah.
Won the race.
That's more than fair.
Yeah.
Good to have those fearless blokes with a no-care attitude in racing. The more the better.
Actually, just don't want to digress too much, but in his post-race interview, they asked him about sticking to the fence, and he thought, if this doesn't work, I'm going to get hung up by my balls. But I stuck there anyway.
hung up by him. That would hurt.
Not even the glad wrap would help. That's.
You should always wear it.
But there's the last race is the Gay Waterhouse. Not sure whether Gay is going to be there on course to present the trophy. But this is like falling away to a just another Queensland Open handicap here. There's a little bit of speed here, so I'll be interested to see how the track's playing throughout the day. Craig was on the horse that I wanted to be on, and originally in Intrepidatious, who was on speed and almost won 2 back when Outback Barbie just knocked it off when it come down the sprint lane. There's a number of horses that can go forward here. If it looks anything like horses can make ground, one horse that is very dear to our heart, number 8, Socialising.
Love.
Jim Byrne's on it. Now, Jim Byrne is has got to ride the Ipswich track well. And, if by that stage of the day, we'll know very well whether you can sort of, weave your way through traffic and run on here. And, I think this horse ran a nice last week, beaten 5.8 lengths at Eagle Farm. But just want to see how the race shape is by the time we get here, because we'll well and truly know by this race whether it's worth being on horses that you want to make ground or not. So open race, number of leaders, all track dependent for that stage of the day. But, not a lot to get excited about throughout the day for me.
Okay, very good. Now, Dickens, we're not going to go into anything at, where are you this weekend? Flemington.
Yeah.
Hey, mate.
We do have... Darcy will jump in for a race at Flemington. We do have a viewer
Disgusting
question,
parenting. This is the stuff I'm doing for our team and for the viewer at home. Before I had children, if I saw someone like at dinner give them the iPad, I was judgy. Little tip for anyone who doesn't have children: do not judge until you have walked a mile in their shoes. He's watching the big betting iPad, which is now basically a YouTube iPad, and it's predominantly playing Blippi, which is a sickening show, but it keeps him quiet and makes him very happy. So that's what we're doing. And because it's on YouTube, which doesn't happen to our shows, but when you get to a certain level of success, they pound you with ads, and the parent has to fast forward the ad.
I was going to say, Darcy will be all over that in about 6 months' time. He'll be able to skip ads. We'll get him involved. So. He'll be the new intern. It'll be wonderful. Flemington or viewer question? The viewer question's pretty good.
I'll do one race at Flemington if you want. I think you'd expect that. So I'll do one. Hot trainer at Flemington is Archie Alexander. And as far as a hot rider goes, is a real hot boy, Benny Mellon. I reckon he's back. He strikes better than anyone. He improves historically at Flemington. Rider to watch. I think he's just getting his weight just about right and be going pretty good pretty soon. But hopefully it's a J Carr day or our or Froggy Newitt, because in race 4 we've backed number 12 Lindhout, who I backed at Sandown yesterday at a big price. It hemorrhaged and then they scratched. We backed the winner of that race still, and I don't think Lindhout would have won the way the track raced. So good scratch. Thank you very much. I think they'll be more suited to run on Saturday. The rail's out 11 metres at Flemington. This is the 4th race, so you'll have some kind of idea by now whether to pull the trigger or not. We've already bet and took $7.50 and $5. They're slightly shorter now, but they're both backable prices still. I expect Lindhout to be worse in midfield, but get home really well. And then this South Australian horse for J Carr and R Jolly. Second up, I like what it did first up. I like J Carr. She is riding. Everyone talks about it, but she's getting better. She completely, and to our detriment, completely and utterly handled Dean Yendall yesterday at Sandown. We were on a Zoom call together. It was a car crash, wasn't it, boys? Like from the very start, when they went past the post the first time, we were on smoke and Romans. And no one wanted that fence. She was just out there on a limb. And Dean just said, oh, fuck it, all right, I'll go to the rail. And then all of a sudden, T-Hope's got J Carr's ass. And those two just tow into the race, and we wait our turn, just miss. Painful. J Carr's flying. She'll handle this wide barrier. I think Poyster wins the most likely winning chance of this race, just in front of Lindhout. Back them both.
Speaking of Jamie, while we're on the subject, just quickly, what about the handling she dished in the first yesterday?
Yeah, but she handled like a very. I don't know what to say here, but she didn't. Handling Dean Yendel's a lot harder to do than handling the riders she handled in the races 1 and 2.
You pussy.
Very bubble bath for me, isn't it?
It is. Well, you're a bit close to the participants there to say what you need to say.
Yeah, I know.
Compromise your ability to be
if there's
objective.
one time I'm going to compromise it, it's always going to be in that exact situation, just in case.
You can only rate them against who they're riding against, and she was far better than who she rode against yesterday.
And it might have been race 1. It was a complete nut to fill. It might have been just you and me, Curls, on the phone then, on Zoom. It was a complete fill-in run. You can get SP about hers when she'd done the same thing she did to Yendel to the race favourite, which was Michelle Payne's ride for her brother, cousin, dad. And I'm pretty sure they're related, Mark, because they're both named Payne.
Same surname.
But yeah, she had the race where she wanted it. Her horse always going to look the winner at some point and trade real low, which it did.
All right.
Viewer question, still.
Yep. From Tommy H. Can you get your thoughts on betting early with fixed odds not actually fixed and susceptible to deductions? Surely betting early is a mugs game, given the variables that can occur from Wednesday to Saturday.
Oh, hang on, look what he's just done. Speaking of dust, he's taken it from YouTube. Does anyone recognise what that is?
I do see.
That's Bet Angel.
Webby,
Peter Webb.
All right.
Where are they moving up, Das?
As long as he's winning, that's the main thing. Tommy H continues, case in point, Red Can Man in race 9 at Flemington on Saturday. Much hype, trialled well, but down the straight for the first time and up against a few tried and handy horses with a better record on soft. There are enough variables here to my amateur eye to suggest that this thing should be $6 plus on a Thursday. What the fuck are we being offered, or why, I think he means, why are we being offered $4.60 this far out from race time? Thoughts? So first of all, I guess that's a couple of questions. One, in terms of Red Can Man, obviously had really good WA form. I thought he actually probably overachieved for a lot of the time that he was over there, but the horse just continued to find and to improve. But in terms of betting early, what do you guys think when it comes to locking in that price? Are you scared of deductions? Are you scared of the track changing, weather patterns and so forth? Rhoden, let's start with you.
Well, this is where you have to be confident in your ability to price at least reasonably accurately. If you've got one $4 and you're confident that it's a $4 chance, you're happy with that price and you can get 7 or 8, you have to bet. And yeah, there might be an unexpected track pattern, there might be deductions, but you just have to wear that. If you can consistently get an over like that, you've got to just take it every time and hope it comes out in the wash.
Because even if you're -2, like take 2 lengths off it for the track pattern,
yeah,
come the race, it's still going to be $6 and you got 7.
Yeah, that's right. So they're the kind of edges you want to really get stuck into early markets. You've got to remember they've got a lot of percentage in their favour this far out, Thursday, Saturday, 25% or something like that. So that they're not exposing themselves. They're well protected by that margin. So you have to be very confident there's half a mistake being made. You cannot just go through the card and say this will win, this will win, this will win, and take the Thursday prices, because you will lose heavily doing that. But if you
what do you think about watching what we do? How I do it?
Well, it's cherry picking, 1 or 2 a meeting. It's not, maybe more. And you look at how I do it for Saturday. Look, there might be a favourite I'm pretty confident is going to shorten, and we'll just take the price there. A lot of cases, I like the look of the price of a $6 chance, but I can't be sure it's going to go off, so I'll say have something best of the best as well. So you sort of covered either way there, and you get a nice average in the long term. But, yeah, the way you do it and the way I like to approach favourites, look, they're the ones where you can get massive overlays, because $3 into $2 is 17%. 6 into 5 is 3.
Yeah.
Or 3.5. So when you get the big shorteners at the sharp end of the market is where the value exists.
Which again is why Smoking Romans was so sickening, because it's 270 into 2.
Yeah. Well, that's 13.5%.
All right. Curls, your thoughts?
Had a great answer for this too, and now I've lost it.
that's a great insight into our man's head. You know, like we're talking, he's not really listening. He's going through his answer, and then he's going, "That's a fucking great answer" in his head.
No, I had this great answer. Then I listened to Rhoden, and I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Look, it is. Of course, it's about cherry picking. And look, I'll tell you another thing that I struggle with a little bit is these hype trialers that will just go off as soon as the market goes up. You're not fucking pricing them, right? No, the blokes that are backing those horses aren't pricing them.
No,
they're black bookers and they're backing them, right? That's like, fuck that. I struggle with that. Now, obviously, when I'm betting provincial Queensland, there's a number of those types of horses that go off, that might have jumped out well or whatever else. And, I'm talking from my experience betting in the markets that I bet into, and they'll be completely turned off. But, it's probably going to get worse when the NBL's kick in July 1. It's going to be quick in the dead at those prices. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be opportunities betting later when the market settles itself out. Because as you said, Mark, they're well and truly insulated from any damage with the market prices going up. And, we've seen it on Dynamic. We discussed it this morning. Pistol, certain bookies go up 140%, which fucks the algorithms from the other bookies that bounce off each other. And completely ruin a price, and a ticket hasn't been written in a lot of examples. So that happens as well. As far as betting early is concerned and fixed prices not being fixed prices, I don't disagree, but you can sometimes get a read. Like, I know if I'm looking at a market and I see a horse that's drawn barrier 16 and it has got no jockey and it's $3, that, there's every chance that it's going to be nom somewhere else. So you've got to go and do your homework and look at the horse and say, yes, it's in Sunday at the Sunshine Coast with Ben Thompson from Gate 5. You're not going to bet into that market. You've also got to be aware of, people like Sportsbet who deduct for emergencies. That's another little anomaly where...
I've got something to say about that. That's actually a fairer system. Because if you've got something in the market in the emergencies, which then gets a run, if you back one of the original field, the normal field, you cop effectively a reverse deduction because it'll lengthen just by the fancied runner getting a run.
By getting in a run, yeah. I mean, obviously, every scenario is different, but there's all these factors that need to be taken into account when you're going to decide whether you bet early or not. I think pricing them and seeing the overlay and cop an acceptable overlay is one thing, but as long as you understand the depth of that, what else can affect that market with dual acceptances and that sort of stuff too, I think is important. So I don't think there's a blanket rule at all. I think you just cherry pick and I don't know, maybe Mark does it a fair bit with half bet now and half bet best of the best to protect yourself.
Yeah, I'd also, in a perfect world, I'd wait till after scratchings to bet.
Yeah.
In most cases, it'd have to be like. I do this really. I've sent one out for Saturday because I think it's got a real big box at stick that I love, and I think it's a big price. But,
you are.
Yeah, check your phone.
Oh, good. I'll back that one. Yeah.
But in most, that's an outlier as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather wait and know what the field is. You're almost. But the only deduction you can cop from then is scratching at the barrier or something.
Peter's the same as you.
Yeah. And you know what the map is?
I'm the opposite. I couldn't care less. I just want to bet, and whatever it will be. No, like, it's in
2 days out, bet 1 day out, bet on the day again.
I think that the answer to the question is, I don't think you're pricing to 100% or you're even pricing. Did he sort of say, I think it's about a $6 chance or something?
Yeah.
So, like, if you're just picking a number out, it's going to be pretty hard to measure long term what you're doing. But the real data nerds, which is a word I picked up this from them. It's closing line value. So if you're pricing to 100%, you'll just know over time. Like, so we've been betting early for a while now with my service, and you guys can. I don't care if you disagree with me, and say it if you do. I feel like we get really good closing line value, regardless of result, with the early prices that we're taking. I measure that consistently with Jackson, and so we're going to persist with that. if a horse was $6, I want to mark that $4 or shorter, because with a really bad map that I thought was a good map that's flipped into a really bad map, and a changing track condition that's not good, that horse might go out sort of just north of $6 the way I price, and that's a risk I'm happy to take. Like 9 times out of 10, it's going to stay $4, and it could even get shorter.
So if you're saying that what feels right to you is getting $6 about a horse you've marked $4, that feels like a bet to you?
Yep.
Well, that's 11% of overlay, and that's your base. That's your minimum.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep, I'd say that for sure.
Sorry, no, it's not. Sorry, it's about 8. It's about 8, but still.
Oh, I'd say more than 5% is what I want.
Yeah.
To be honest,
yeah.
At least, and I do think with what Curl said is really relevant. You'll feel like anxiety and pressure to bet straight away. There's no way that those markets, like the people betting, have priced 100%. I reckon it's probably like 2 to 3 brains or systems that decide those opening sort of 10 minutes. There's like one plastic that goes up, they all sort of follow, and there might be one trial watcher who backs their eye and has like a price like you're doing, Danny, is it? He goes, this thing's a $6 chance, I reckon, and just bets. And that's all it is. You can't compete with that unless that's what you do. So what I do is a process, and it repeats every single time I do a race meeting. So don't rush, don't force it. When you're ready to bet, if the price is there, the price is there. If it's not, it's not. It's not going to like end your life.
Yeah, don't.
And with the NBLs, the fluctuations in Victoria are so dynamic and fluid now compared to what they were, that what might have been a bet like at the start of the day, you'll end up backing 3 different horses come the jump. Darcy started playing the guitar, so I'll mute myself.
I was just going to throw out as well, you also have to get used to the concept of averaging, especially if you're betting in somewhere like WA, which doesn't have minimum bet laws, because you might be able to get on at one joint early, and then 3 joints maybe 9 a.m. on the day, or after scratchings on the day, and then obviously you'll be able to bet a lot more late, so you end up with like this sort of a triangle sort of shape of your punting getting bigger as you get closer towards the end, and you've got all these prices that you've taken. You just have to be confident in that, you're just averaging out over time, especially as you get closer to the jump. So you want to have more on closer, obviously, but it's a different system out west.
Yeah, you're definitely hamstrung out there. Something that you mentioned last week too, Pistol, was like giving some kind of credence to the market setter.
Yeah,
you mentioned last week in this instance. There's price assessors you have to give some respect to.
Yeah, I think there's a few that you can, with time, and they obviously make less mistakes the more they learn. There's a few of the bookmakers around the place that seem to have a better eye for setting a market. And like I said, I think at the time I said, people only remember the times they get it wrong, but quite often they're getting it within ballpark of that market percentage, and obviously they've got a lot more room to wriggle around with early. But I think usually that opening price, there is going to be a few snipers early that, as Jack said, will be backing things without necessarily having prices. Once you actually have a deeper look and start to see what everyone else has opened up, you can get a fair idea of what the market will look like late.
Yeah, I think if there was mistakes and multiple mistakes made daily, you would see it on Twitter. People would be, cheering one on. I got $12 this, they made a mistake. And we all know what happens if the mistake's too large. You receive an email saying, "Oh, we made a mistake. We've avoided that bet."
Well, as someone who used to do it, put up the early prices, and saw a lot of commentary around some of the prices I put up on Twitter from time to time, going back, 8-10 years now. But I think that happens less and less. I mean, I'll probably spend less time on Twitter, but I think people are less impressed by and less inclined to crow about, how did they put up $7 this, what a bunch of mugs. That doesn't seem to happen as much because, look, it's an industrial process. You're pricing hundreds and hundreds of races a year, throwing up markets. The pressure is on you to just get them up and start betting. Yeah. That's what the company's there for. That's what the website's for. Just bet. Yeah. Just put them up. Let the punters knock it into shape. You don't have to be 100% right. So then I think there's a better understanding of that these days, and going on and say, how'd they put up X, this horse is less of a thing.
Yeah, I think especially with, obviously some of the late moves on the fair, quite often there's just no need. You can't make the commentary anyway, because once the market percentage comes down,
unless you know what's going to SP, you're better off keeping your mouth shut.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, good question anyway, Tommy. I think there's plenty of different opinions when it comes to betting early and when is the right time to bet. But for me, it's when you've done the form and you finish the form for the race, and when you're able to get on.
Yeah, I think, and the crux of if you think it's a $6 chance and it's $4.20, then you've got to be trying to lay it. Like, your price is your price. Yeah. And if you think that's a $6 chance, then there's going to be something in this race. It doesn't matter if it's not the horse you loved or you wanted to back. That you might have the astrologist $8 and it's 10, so I'm going to back that now. That's how it works.
All right, very good. Mark will catch up tomorrow with Mark Sheen for some victims action there at, is it Randwick tomorrow? Yep. Rose Hill.
Rose Hill. We both landed on Cisco Bay in the last, which was, $6.50 into 3 something on the totes and money. So we'll be looking for another pearl of wisdom from the great Mark Sheen tomorrow.
Absolutely beautiful.
So it's your fault. You're the hashtag they that they're talking about on Twitter on Saturday. They launched at this.
It's just coincidence. That was coincidence.
All right. Remember, we've got this. If you purchase Punting Form's sectional pro form subscription for $279 a month, I'll give you a 30-minute lesson. We've also got Mountie Mail in Sydney. He is red hot. Oh. Only bloke is slightly hotter, which is it was pretty stiff. Mark ran 4th out of the 5 last Saturday, and he won about 20 units. But Peter is airborne. The profit on turnover is it's hard to fit into the template, but it's enormous. He's flying. Curls and I doing what we do. Jacko on board as well. So if you want to support the show, get around us. We're winning. While it continues, you should be a part of it. Head to the mailbag.com.au and get on board. Enjoy your week. Bye for now.